Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. I'm your host, DZ. Today, we have a major show for you today. We're going to talk about the Base app and all of the things they are building. We have Bitcoin with a line in the sand with 2 red weekly candles. What happened last time we saw this? And monthly MACD crossing over. What happened last time we saw this? Very, let me just go ahead and say it, scary charts ahead of us, folks. But I'm joined here by TJ and the Druth. How are you two doing today?
We're doing great. We're doing good here for, we got Drew here for the Base takeover. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, as DZ mentioned, special stream today brought to you by Base and Base Network. So a shout out to them, bringing the world on chain. They're doing it one user at a time. And we're very, you guys know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, we love Base. I've been using Aerodrome, been using Morpho and a lot of their applications for a very long time. Playing with the new app, we're going to actually be doing a giveaway towards the end of the show where we give beta access to one of you guys for the app user. So big stuff coming for them, especially after December 17th. A lot of big announcements coming up. So we'll be talking about that. And in the meantime, we got JP Morgan out there coming after our bags, I see. And, decent weekend, right? We had some bullish action over the weekend, but it feels like you can never trust a weekend pump. But how are you feeling going into this week compared to last week? Got a holiday week. Monad dropped, I guess, today technically, so that's another sell the news type thing.
Major liquidity event for crypto. Is that going to be good or bad for your altcoins? No one knows for sure just yet. Now, to TJ's point about giving away the Base beta codes, I'm going to be giving away a code, folks, but there's something you have to do. You must retweet our stream on my account. So DZ_BTC. If you share this stream right here, I'm going to just pull a random reposter and I'm just going to DM you and give you one of these Base beta access codes there. So if you do want a beta access code, go and reshare that right now. I really would appreciate it, folks. But let's go ahead and look at the crypto market, everybody. How's crypto doing today? Well, not all that great, if we're going to be honest. ETH coming in with a little bit of a green candle, and XRP up 1%, but Bitcoin is down 0.7%. We can see Solana's down about 0.5%, and Cardano's down 1.3%. We are going to talk a little bit more about what happened last week with Cardano's mainnet. We have Bitcoin Cash still having some green days. Do not like seeing that whatsoever, if I'm going to be honest. And Rain on Me came down with a 96% pump today. Canton Network up 8.7%. Pump.fun is up. Aave is up. Athena is up. Aster is up, coming in at 111. Pepe and Near coming in with little green candles as well. And on the downside, we have Atom, Aptos, Pi, and Hash all leading the way. And Zcash also down a little bit, but how about the Zcash pump for the month, though? Still up 100% for the 30 days there.
It was definitely a wild weekend. I know you already kind of jumped on and covered a lot of what we saw. I guess it was Friday afternoon and Saturday with the Cardano network, but Arrow actually having a dramatic weekend as well on November 21st, centralized domain. So if you guys weren't paying attention this weekend, this is what we were talking about in the Discord and obviously on X a lot. But both Velodrome and Aerodrome, they got their Web 2 domains got hijacked. So basically what happened was a compromise from here's the TLDR right here. The root of the internet security breach from Name Silo, which was their domain server on this, decentralized domains were always secure. The centralized domains with the new infrastructure go live next week. So basically what happened is if you went to Aerodrome's website, that Web 2 domain was compromised. It was limited to a very select amount of people. And what's really cool, not only did the Aero team handle the security thing very, very quickly, which obviously in crypto, anytime you hear anything like this, it's a little bit scary, especially me. I've got a lot of Aero locks, a lot of stuff in the smart contracts. So the first thing you always ask is, were the smart contracts okay? And they were. And they also had a fund set up immediately to help anybody that was affected. So I think it was only a few $100,000 worth of funds that were affected, and there was a plan in place for all of those people. So really cool to see a team handle it so quickly, so efficiently. The communication was good, and solved the problem very quickly. And similarly, with the Cardano stuff, that was also handled pretty quickly as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, handled pretty quickly. We're going to cover that a little bit later. I do want to show some Bitcoin price charts beforehand, however, and looking at the Bitcoin price on the small time frames. We're talking about very, very small time frames. We're looking at the 3 minute. You can see it on the 5 minute as well, just not quite as long. I've seen a little bit of some bearish divergences on this, again, the small time frames. So I wouldn't be surprised if we push a little bit lower, maybe wick a little bit lower than where we wicked earlier in the day. And we go to the 1 hour. You also see, maybe leaving the relative strength on the overbought, going into oversold. So we are looking for a little bit of relief here. I saw on the 45 minute a clear bullish bias right here, and boom, things had a nice little move to the upside. But then I'm starting to see a very clear bearish bias, and you can see again, this is only on the 45. You don't see it on the 1 hour just yet, and suggesting maybe we could see a little bit more room to the downside. Wouldn't be surprised if we come down where we were on Friday. And we did see some small time frame bullish dive or CME gaps, and we're going to cover that as well. I want to talk about XRP. XRP, one of the bigger gainers in the top 10, at least, and XRP actually looking kind of decent, showing a little bit of strength here. I'm looking a little oversold on the 1 hour chart, but if you go to the 4 hour, headed, it needs to be a little bit more maybe choppy to the downside. We need a regular bull flag pennant, but there's an argument that XRP has a pretty significant bull flag that could potentially form. I'm not saying it's forming just yet, but if this can form, we're looking at a pretty good target for XRP. This might, again, dubious speculation. I thought, chat, I apologize. I thought it was going to be a lot higher, TJ. 236, though. 236. We'll take a little XRP pump.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, people these days, people will take any type of pump you're willing to give. I see people in the chat right now saying officially bear market is confirmed. I'm seeing a lot of people after this weekend starting to, feel a little bit more optimistic about the short term. I still believe we're going to see a bullish 2026. So I do think what we're seeing right now, the chop and the consolidation, is going to be temporary. Once we get the full government reopen and we end the QT, we get into the money printing season. I do not believe 2026 is going to be a bearish year. So,
all right, let's get Drew. All right, so 2026 we have bullish. 2026, I will say I'm leaning bullish. 2026, Drew. Chat also bullish or bearish 2026. So I'm saying from January 1st to December 31st, bullish or bearish, Drew.
I took a bet that we're actually going to be real bullish by the middle of 2026. With I
asked you January 1st versus December 31st, 26.
Yeah, I think we'll be accomplishing what we were just at in Bitcoin all-time highs, end of May 2026. So I think it's going to be very bullish. Yeah, the velocity to the downside's been vicious. All of the plebes, all the short-term holders are questioning their reality right now, and it's a perfect time now that the boat's been cleaned off to pump the markets back up. That's my take on it.
And just a double click on this, you do think it will be higher on December 31st, 2026?
Yes.
Versus January 1st.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I do.
I didn't know how hard the crash after May might be you're referring to.
All right. I think we're going to stay in a more controlled structure. We've been saying that the whole time. If you look at our path up to 125, 126, it's been a lot different than years past. And I think it's because of things like what we're seeing with base and Coinbase and big money coming into this space. We're actually so the three of us here, we were messing with the base app over the weekend. And if you guys haven't, like we said, if you share and repost this, we are going to be giving away a couple beta invite links. It's pretty cool. And what they're doing, their focus is very much bringing the world on chain. I think they want to bring 1 billion users on chain. And you've heard that for a long time in crypto. I've been in this space almost a decade at this point. It's crazy. I'm getting old, and people have been talking about bring the world on chain. We need mass adoption. We need all these different things. And we do. And the user experience up until this point just hasn't been great. If you use on-chain apps, like, you have to be a crypto native to use them. If you try to get anybody you care about to use an on-chain app and they've never used crypto at all, they're going to think you're insane when you tell people like, yeah, everybody's going to be using this stuff, and you hand them that app. You're like, oh no, you just need to download this and then bridge this over there, move your funds from this app to that app. Just you have to sign this transaction. Yeah, I know it's scary. Don't worry. Just click yes. Oh, but sometimes you click yes and it could drain all your fun. Like the user experience is horrible in crypto, but this base app is actually a pretty clean experience. It syncs directly in with Apple. Like the first thing you see is like bridge over from Apple Pay, which is really nice. There's a social integration built into it. I mean, you were playing with it's built on top of Farcaster, at least the social integration is, which is where a lot of the crypto natives are. And it's starting to feel much more like a traditional web experience, and it is actually a pretty exciting to me. It's an exciting time to be in crypto because I can see it more than ever before. Yeah, there's the app right there. Somebody there talking about the monad drop, that's which I did buy a little bit of, and I'm doing it for the culture. I'll ride it. I don't care. Maybe it'll go up, maybe it won't. But I'm a big believer in supporting these new things. If you guys don't know, token launch happened on Coinbase as well. But Coinbase, they've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of support. They've got an actual design team, and we met with the base team, and I feel like they've really got their head around not just the crypto user and the trader, but also the traditional Web 2 user. And this is something that's going to bring it together, I think, for the long term. We already know they've got good products building on it. We've been supporting, and realistically, the base picks that we've had have kind of been the saving grace of my portfolio this whole year. I mean, Aerodrome, Morpho, Moonwell, all of those have been picks that we made early that have vastly outperformed the market, mostly because of the base ecosystem and the base support. We didn't mess with Zora. We slept on that one. We probably should have.
I've been on Zora. I've been on Zora in and out. Yeah, and like there's no stone I've left unturned in terms of new blockchain based social media connections, because this is something I feel is really, really strong. Honestly, getting hooked into the base beta on my phone was easier than any other platform that's out there trying to do this right now. So I think the door being easy to get through for the average person is super important. Made a couple posts there and gotten some people invited in there, and we're starting to build up in there. But the concept of looking like, an easy to use application that already exists for people, I think is going to be super, super important. We always talk about wanting to bring the whole world in and how we're going to get them involved with crypto. You have to make the door easy to get in and out of. You can't make them have to sign different confirmation messages, things of that nature. It needs to be seamless. And that was really exciting to see the beta in the app actually open that door easy.
100%. Yeah, people are always going to be scared of seed phrases. That will never change. Don't think it's ever going to change, folks. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. Little CME gap starting to form now. You don't see this on the daily, but you can see it on the 4-hour. 82,000 to 85,000. I pulled it up on the charts right here. So CME gap, but we were talking right before we went live. It closed during the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. or at least wick down. So you can see maybe that was the downside pressure. So you probably could have seen this and just shorted the market, and they're mostly filled within a week. So be prepared for a correction. Looks like we got the correction. So now the question is this going to be the bottom after that correction? I'm always bullish, folks. So we're going to lean towards yes here. Now, let's talk about MicroStrategy. Let's talk about JP Morgan. Let's talk about Wall Street and the big banks trying to suppress Bitcoin and some of these Bitcoin digital asset treasury companies. What is the truth? What is the noise? Is Jamie Dimon and his cronies shorting the heck out of Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, or is this regular hedging? Well, we dove in and we popped open the hood here. So large institutions sold $5 billion in shares during Q3. Is this correct? No. Did they reduce their exposure 5 million? So if you look, the shares are priced in USD. So the shares have declined. Is there net selling? Yes, there is net selling. But are we also adding, in addition to the net selling, the reduction in the share price? Yes. So seeing sold 5 billion, not entirely accurate. So just be careful with some of these headlines, folks. But now people are pissed off at JP Morgan Strategy, Bitcoin supporters. They're calling for a boycott. Boycott this big bank. So there's a backlash against JP Morgan from the Bitcoin community and supporters. of strategy, and they're continuing to swell on Sunday as the calls to boycott JP Morgan starting to grow. I'm getting vibes of Occupy Wall Street, folks. The anger from the Bitcoin community came after what we covered on Saturday. A lot of, once again, people talking about what we covered 2 days later, so we covered this on Saturday, the MSCI, Morgan Stanley Capital International. So if you didn't watch Saturday's Morgan Stanley video, I highly recommend you go do that. It's an index company that sets criteria for index inclusion. They changed their criteria to exclude MicroStrategy and other digital asset companies. Now we got Grant Cardone. He's super angry. Crashed JP Morgan buy strategy in Bitcoin. That's Max Kaiser. This is Grant Cardone's piece right here. I just pulled $20 million from Chase and suing them for credit card malfeasance. So the calls against JP Morgan is continuing to swell here. But what about Michael Saylor? What does Michael Saylor have to say? He broke his silence and responded to this no longer being included. He responded to the proposed policy change saying strategy is not a fund, not a trust, not a holding company. Funds and trusts passively hold assets. Holding companies sit on investments. We create, structure, issue, and operate. And so he said, because of that, we're not a fund and we're not a trust because we do have day-to-day operations. In fact, we're a Bitcoin-backed structured finance company. I think we're splitting hairs at that point, but the proposed listing criteria would force treasury companies with 50% or more of its balance sheet in crypto to get kicked out of the index. And then the companies would face one or two choices. They can either sell their crypto holdings to go below the 50% threshold or lose passive capital flows from these indices. So it looks like they're going to be losing a lot of these flows instead. But are they short MicroStrategy? That's kind of what you're seeing a lot of people saying, of this coordinated attack. Well, JP Morgan has a firm-wide margin hike on this. So it did change their internal criteria in addition to the MSCI. They changed the margin from 50% to 95%. So before, I got $1 in MicroStrategy stock, and I could do something with this dollar, but I only need 50 cents on the dollar to play with this dollar. So it's like, oh, I only need 50 cents on the dollar. Give me all these dollars. I'm going to make all this money. But now it's, I need 95 cents on this dollar. Now it's a lot harder to make money with the strategy. So that ended up manufacturing a lot of selling pressure from that move. But who is shorting this? Now, TJ brought up a good question. I haven't looked into the money backing these, but you're not going to see a lot of short pressure from JP Morgan. 80% of the shorts, these names right here, Viridian, Velocity, it's like they're only making it hard to say on purpose. 2 Sigma and Cube Research. All of this, folks, is publicly available information. I'm not, just pulling this out of a hat here. This is where the short pressure is coming from. Now, MicroStrategy, now there was a famous short seller, Jim Chanos, but he says his thesis is mostly played out. So a lot of people did short this, especially in Q1, especially in Q2. But now we're not seeing as many shorts from these big companies.
Yeah, what's interesting, and this is another reason why things could be bottoming, is the Wall Street play for a lot of this year was long Bitcoin and short MicroStrategy because that was a hedge, right? If MicroStrategy's correlated to Bitcoin, hey, if Bitcoin tanks and you've got a short on MicroStrategy, it should fall. So the people that did that, I think that was the guy you're referring to right there at the end, actually performed beautifully. They've unwound most likely both of those trades. And that's what we've been witnessing over the last few weeks is both of those things unwinding. So I think we could be near, MicroStrategy, the common stock has just been beat up lately, looking like a buy to me around these levels. Let's see. We got a super chat here. GM, the fund managers should reduce their home and land holdings since they manipulate the home prices and cause fake home shortage. Why attack Bitcoin? Why is because they're making money on it. The same reason they do the stuff with their the land holdings and suppressing other markets. It's a free. Well, it's arguably a free market, and within that market, there are incentives to make money. That's why they do what they do. So,
yeah, this kind of sums up exactly what you're saying. Tom Lee explained it. So this is why strategy is the easiest way to hedge Bitcoin, kind of cover both your sides. You can use MicroStrategy's options change, which is liquid, to hedge all of your crypto. And the only convenient way to hedge someone's long on Bitcoin is to short MicroStrategy or buy puts. So that's where the strategy is coming from.
And it worked out really, really well, and so you can't really even fault it too much, but it is It is interesting. You want to see the most alarmist thing I saw about this all weekend, which was, the true conspiracy was this here. We got Mike Alfred breaking. Donald Trump, Scott Bessent, and allies are working on a multi-step plan to bolster Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and stablecoins while simultaneously defunding JP Morgan, the Fed, and the U.S. banking cabal to protect U.S. citizens. The administration views it as a defining battle. Now, I can't tell if that's like
I don't think
satire.
Scott Bessent is like, how do I save the dollar? The Bitcoin, Bitcoin's the way.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not what I see.
Yeah, I don't know if there was some tongue in cheek in that, but that was the most dramatic version of that I saw. I do not think that's necessarily their plan, but hey, it's a Bitcoiner's dream come true, I guess, to see everybody withdraw your funds from JP Morgan, put it all in Bitcoin, and we're going to take them out. But realistically, JP Morgan's been around a very long time, and they're not going anywhere at all. And seeing them coming towards crypto is probably a positive thing. Yes, it's going to come with some volatility and some
detractors like Elizabeth Warren. We have Base Brothers. Elizabeth is coming, boys. We have to win. She wants to end you. She doesn't want you to exist in the way that you exist, and that's you're existing with freedom and sovereignty, and they hate that because they want to control you because they think they know better than you do what is best for you in your own life.
Yeah, and I would say if you're in crypto, welcome to that. They're not going to kill crypto to save themselves. They're going to try, but that ship has sailed. They can't really. It's like saying they're going to kill the internet. They might be able to get their arms around it. They might be able to get some control over it, but you can't kill it. It's too far. It's too far out of the bag, and that's the beauty again of what Base is doing. Not to bring everything back to Base, but if they can really bring 1 billion people on chain, and the more people we can get on chain, the more resilient this whole movement becomes. And we have a lot of options there. So that's this, and this right here is, JP Morgan brings the dollar to Base's ecosystem, dollar-backed coin to Base. So I think this is, again, you want to work with these people, not always against them. Now they might work against us, but you really can't kill crypto at this point. We're too far into this movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you look, the reason they're talking about Base there is JP Morgan is using the Base network. There's a first deployment of a native payment product on a public blockchain, and they're choosing the Ethereum layer 2 Base.
Right, because previously they had made their own private chain. I think it was Quorum was the name of their internal chain that they were doing a lot of stuff with. So now they're using Base, and every time I turn around, you see another big partner on Base. And like I said, and Steve-O had a good point here. If you can find coins that are on both Base and Solana, they often perform extremely well. Ours, it was basically since it was in testnet, we said, hey, we believe in Coinbase. We believe they've got a very strong business. They know how to run a network. They know this is the main thing. They know the pain points in crypto. These are people that have been around for a very long time, and they understand the friction between swapping. They understand the friction between L1s and L2s and bridging and interoperability and all these different things. Seeing that come into what looks like it could be the everything app of the US, what would be really cool is to see if they could get some, and I have no idea if they're heading this direction or not, so this could be completely off base, but if they get some type of integration with X, that would be really, really cool just to have it. I know they're built on Farcaster, and maybe Farcaster has an integration with X. I can't quite remember because I'm pretty sure that was Jack. Was it Jack that did that? Jack Dorsey did?
Potentially. I'm still using Threads.
You're on Threads?
No. That might be fun just to look there every now and then. The screenshots I see from Threads, they like violence over there, so I don't know if it's the place for me.
Yeah, I just think if they they have payments built in, the way it can swap is very easy. It's very seamless across the different on-chain apps. And again, I've been a user of on-chain apps for a long time. I've been a believer of creating something for the builders for a very long time. I thought NFTs were going to be that. Friction was as bad or worse with NFTs than anything else. So now if we can get it all in one place where you've got some social, you've got the trading and the financial piece of it solved, and you've got some creativity, some opportunity for builders. Like building on Base right now, I think is pretty, if you want to like change your life dramatically overnight, you want to launch a new startup, I would be thinking, what can I build on Base? What can I use to serve Base users, whether it's something that can work with DeFi, like a DeFi buddy type thing that works with Aerodrome or something like that, get an AI DeFi application going on like that. That's something you could be building. You could build something social. You could build something creative. And to me, that's the low hanging fruit of where to build for the next decade. If you look at Kobe, Bill Echo, he sold that to Coinbase. I mean, they're in an acquisition mode, and I think their moat is going to keep getting stronger and stronger. So that's where I would build if it were me and I was looking to do something right now. I would be looking to build a tool that helps traders on prediction markets make more money that works on Base and launch it on Base. And I bet it would take off.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's a good idea. Let's talk about Bitcoin. A couple other things I want to share here. We're about to close our second consecutive weekly candle below the EMA 50. 2018 and 22, this resulted in another 50% drop. The only way Bitcoin won't dump is if the 4-year cycle is dead. So if the 4-year cycle is still in line, we have a lot of pain ahead of us, folks. So you can see it right here. I do have on the weekly candles. Let's just erase some of my lines here. 1 candle, 2 candle. Now we're starting the third. So we close, meaning, the candle with the red candle opens here, wicks up to here, wicks down to there, closes right there. So that's the anatomy of a red candle. And so we have 1 and 2. So let's go back. Let's back test this. Is that true? Are we about to drop 50%? That sounds scary. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen at all. If you look at the mid-year drop, we didn't get the 2 candles below the EMA there. So that is a little bit scary. By the time we do see 2 red candles, I mean, I guess arguably it's right here. And if we were just kind of measure that move, yeah, that was pretty ugly, folks. We ended up dropping another 55%. Let's go back to the other time we saw this. I mean, at that point,
50 weeks.
20. Yeah, this is the 50-week EMA. And I mean, at that point, it was definitely over. I mean, you could tell, like, if you hadn't sold, you're already down 67%. You're already down 70%. Like, well, it can't fall much further, can it? That's got to be the end. That has to be the end. No, you'd fall another 50%. So there's still definitely, typically, we dump 50%. We dump 50% after this happens. That's a little bit scary out there. So you want the 4-year cycle to be dead. This is interesting as well. Every single Monday is a manic Monday. Since 126K, 8 out of 8 Mondays, Bitcoin drops. Chat, are we going to break the streak? Will this time be any different? Or are we going to run the same script? Are we going to, yes, no, we are. Let's just say 9 out of 9 or 8 out of 9. What do you think? Type in 9-9 or 8-9. Are we breaking the streak? Will the streak continue? Is it going to be 9 out of 9 Mondays? TJ, to it, I say 9. That's just me saying no in German. What do you say? Are we going to continue the streak here?
It feels like it.
Chat saying out the gate.
Yeah, I would like to see us bounce here, but it definitely
feels.
Yeah, it definitely feels weak. What do you, Drew? You got the green light behind you. Are you saying you think we're going to go bullish today?
Today, I actually think that we do stand a pretty good chance of going bullish. I have turned my lights back to green.
Okay, 8 out of 9 then. We're going to break the streak. It's going to be 8 out of 9 Mondays.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was listening to Face on the way in, and he's feeling pretty good. Now, I completely agree with what Face said this morning. Extremely volatile, but we do have the structural build out to see a decent bounce right now. So I feel pretty strongly that we actually might end up with a positive. Oh snap, Jason Casper, what's up, dude?
10-9. Yeah, we're gonna go down twice in one of those weeks, and we probably did. So one of those has to count for 2.
Yeah, it's not a leap year. I don't get it. I'm not computing that one. That one makes all right.
Yeah,
so
it just feels weak. Now we did finally make a higher low, but again, it was on a weekend, and you can't really trust weekend stuff. So and
never trust a Sunday pump. That's what
we also
say.
have a holiday week this week with a lot of people traveling and stuff. So I don't know. Like it feels weak. But if we could get back above 87 and hold it, I'm much better on the long-term macro than I am on the short-term daily stuff. But yeah, it feels like it wants to go down. It feels like sentiment is down.
Drew, and I wonder, Jason, as well. Are you going to trade on Thanksgiving? Are you trading while passing the gravy?
I mean, I'm going to be hanging out with TJ, so probably, yeah, a little
Drew's
bit.
Addicted. He can't not trade.
I'm farming points on Dexes. I'm in and out. And you know what? It's the holiday season, DZ. I love Print and Tether for more presents. Okay.
Here's a
Drew
fun
kills
story.
his own turkey for Thanksgiving, by the way.
You know, when we first got into Morpho was Thanksgiving last year. It was Thanksgiving Day. I remember you coming to my house and being like, dude, I found this new thing. That's when we first found Morpho, was Thanksgiving last year.
Yes, yes, it was. And I'm very thankful on this Thanksgiving for base ecosystem plays insulating my portfolio from gut-wrenching downturns, right? I've walked away from Avalanche. I've walked away from Ondo. I've walked away from a lot of different projects and consolidated down to Morpho, Aerodrome. These, in my opinion, are the pillars of, Morpho for the lending side and Aerodrome for the swaps, the liquidity. And these have ended up really insulating my portfolio from all the pain that I'm surrounded by. And I understand that the pain's out there for a lot of the older projects and even some new ones, but just staying focused on this. This is a theory me and BJ came out with in the blockchain basement like 2.5 years ago of some massive expansion of Ethereum from Coinbase. Here we are. We're looking at a rollout. JP Morgan thinks it's going to be worth $34 billion as things sit right now. And Aerodrome's market cap is under $1 billion. So I feel good about these positions. It's giving me a long-term look.
Yeah, same here.
We do got people, they like to trade while passing the gravy, passing the mashed potatoes. Chat, what is the best Thanksgiving side and why is it Teeny's mac and cheese?
Mac and cheese is a good one. Mac and cheese is such a solid size. I mean, you think Thanksgiving, if you get the right mixture, I love like a good cranberry sauce. I like having a couple different ones, but
I like garlic mashed potatoes with the chives. I love garlic mashed potatoes.
Garlic mashed
Green
potatoes
bean
solid.
casserole. What are we even talking about here? Sweet potatoes. I mean, yeah, if your food has marshmallows on it, it's not a real food, okay? Real food doesn't have marshmallows.
Does in my house. What are you talking about?
All right. Mac and cheese, just like the Pilgrims ate. I don't even want to know what that is. What, buffalo milk cheese? That doesn't sound good.
Cranberry stuff.
Just cranberries? What are you, a psychopath?
I never do the cranberry stuff. I can't do that.
Really?
No. I mean, I've had some that are good, but most of them that I've had are like,
the best thing I used to do is the leftover. Next day leftover, you take cranberry sauce with a white cheese and the leftover turkey and make cranberry turkey cheese quesadillas.
All right. Well, you probably make better cranberry sauce than I've ever had. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was just
not like out of the can. Like the gelatin type of cranberry sauce. Like
that sounds much better.
Oh man, most of us can't even afford food with the way the market is. I understand that. Shout out to the Moist Maker. That's a Friends reference right there. All right, let's get back into Bitcoin MACD. This is a little bit scary as well. Sorry, I keep showing you these scary charts here. Maybe that's a reversal signal, though. The last 3 times, monthly MACD, moving average convergence divergence, turned bearish. Bitcoin dropped 60% on average, pointing at $40,000. Well, damn it. I don't like that at all. Here you can see the MACD crossing over on this red monthly candle. So if we go back last time we saw this. Now, on this one, it's kind of in a line on the middle. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So on this side, I'm on this side of the MACD. On that candle, technically, I'm kind of on the other side of the MACD, but albeit slightly. We will say this is it. That's the candle that we want to look at here. Yeah, man, 60% drawdown. That was a 60% drawdown. But let me give you a little bit of hopium here. You did get, I think it was a 37% when I measured it earlier. 33, 30, about almost a 35% pump. You could say there's the potential pump reversal before the dump, but MACD also turning bearish. So we keep seeing all these basically bear market signals here. But one other thing I wanted to mention on JP Morgan, remember, they're bearish, they're shorting, they're kicking out of the MSCI, but now they're bullish. JP Morgan bullish on Bitcoin miners. Cypher, CleanSpark, upgraded by JP Morgan. But let me tell you another sign of a bear market. They're only bullish if they stop mining Bitcoin. You quit mining Bitcoin. Oh, I'm bullish on you as a company. Oh, you're mining that stupid digital token that's not real. That Jamie Dimon says maybe it'll be 42 million, and Satoshi pops up at 21 million. Obviously, he doesn't think that's true. But JP Morgan sharpening his view on Bitcoin miners as a wave of high performance computing deals reshape business models and add long-term revenue clarity. Essentially, when you become a high performance computing center, you give up on Bitcoin and then you start working with AI centers and other data, critical IT capacity. We're going to need a lot more IT capacity. So they're bullish if they stop mining Bitcoin. So kind of a bullish news there, but ultimately very, very bearish. And even the guy that shouts about $1 million Bitcoin next year, gold's going to be $8,000 an ounce and silver is going to be 800. He even sold some Bitcoin. Robert Kiyosaki offloading $2.25 million worth of Bitcoin. He did buy some, he said, positive cash flow businesses. That got TJ really excited. I'm just joking. He does like the value investing there, but even Kiyosaki is bearish. So are we seeing enough bottom signals that now we start to reverse?
Yeah, I think interesting about the Bitcoin miners, to come back to that. And in a lot of ways, that is bullish in the sense that it becomes a hedge, right? So like if you're looking to invest in that, even if you do believe in Bitcoin mining, you're like, okay, well, and you could argue actually we're somewhat close to the cost it does to mine, which to me, that's usually how we set a bottom. So if you go look at the cost to mine, it's about 70, which usually tracks around cycle previous all-time high. So that's usually pretty close to the bottom. But it is interesting that now all of those companies do have like that, all that infrastructure now has a backup plan. If you were to decide overnight, hey, we're going to devote 25% of our capacity to AI compute because they're paying us 10x more, because that's all just a giant slush Ponzi fund of money to try to prop each other up. There's money out there that's actually interesting for a Clean Spark or some of those other types of companies out there. So obviously we believe in Bitcoin. They probably do too. We'll continue to mine Bitcoin, but it's another way they could raise money, which is actually probably bullish for those companies. So it's interesting.
Yeah, they're bullish if you pivot away from Bitcoin only. But I was being a little bit, I would say, antagonistic there. Hybrid operators. So maybe it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Maybe they'll continue to mine, and during AI peak usage hours, maybe switch over to AI. That'd probably be, or if they're in a hot zone or a cool zone, you would change it with people's thermostat there. All right, let's talk about China. This is bullish though. China now claims about 14% of global Bitcoin mining hash rate despite the official ban. So as America capitulates and gives up on their Bitcoin support, we have China stepping in and starting to mine a lot more of this orange coin, and famously banned it in 2021, creating that midterm pullback that we saw there. Now coming in 14%, basically 1 out of 7 Bitcoin miners. Let's talk about, speaking of China, you can't talk about China without talking Trump, in America at least. Trump family, this is interesting, have now taken $1 billion hit as crypto crashes linked to the president's woes. This is according to a Nobel Prize winner. Some of you might know who this guy is, Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman has a lot of bad takes. He is a Nobel Prize winner, though. Daily Beast, though, this is a left-leaning publication. They reported the Trump family has lost upwards of $1 billion in trading crypto. But what are the details here? So Bitcoin's price surged after Trump won last year, and its recent plunge coincides with a series of Trump setbacks. So how should we understand Bitcoin's recent crash? They say Bitcoin's crash is the unraveling of the Trump trade. They're saying he seems determined to reward the industry, the one that made his family rich, but Trump's power is visibly diminishing. So the price of Bitcoin has now become a bet on Trumpism, and it has plunged due to that. Now, is it a stretch to link Trump's political woes to crypto? No. Is it a stretch, TJ, Drew? Is it a stretch to point Bitcoin's red candle at Trump?
I would think so.
A stretch? Yeah, I think it's a bit of a stretch. Yeah.
All right, it's a little bit of a stretch. Say maybe not support Drew. What do you say here?
I mean, a lot of people followed the 4-year cycle. A lot of old whales follow the 4-year cycle, and in my opinion, there's a lot of institutional interest in terms of trading to clear the massive amount of longs out that were on the books right now. Like, we've seen open interest go absolutely ballistic. And I made a post about it on my X account, basically highlighting the liquidity above us now is very, very bright green, bright yellow rather. Like this.
I saw that. I almost was going to replicate that.
I mean, this is telling me that there is a lot of money. I think it's about $20 billion
I hate to be the contrarian here. You could change the brightness. You could change the brightness. So look at my screen here. Okay, let's share. That's what it looks like.
Pull up on the larger time frame, because that one was actually looking at like 3 weeks, 1 month time frame. There is a lot of
that's how you clear the bottom. How you clear the bottom there, though.
Let's see if this loads up.
Updates. Yeah,
let's turn it back down. Turn it back down.
Okay, here we go.
There you go. It's a lot of money to grab for liquidity. A lot of money above us. A lot of money.
I mean, you're still looking at hundreds of millions of dollars there. Hundreds per line. And there's dozens of lines. Dozens of us. Dozens.
Yeah, the pain we're getting. I mean, you hear us talk about max pain a lot, and the max pain is definitely getting to be towards the upside. Everybody's sidelined, everybody's beaten down, a lot of people selling out, a lot of people leaving. What was interesting to me, more interesting than any of that stuff, which I do think we can get a little hyper focused on. Like I think it is relevant to watch the liquidity sweeps. The longer the time frame, I think the little bit less relevant they become. However, what's interesting to me was last week we were looking at the short-term holder in a loss, and it was the largest it had ever been. That was what's interesting to me. Even a lot of people that bought the ETF early, and we saw massive outflows coming from those ETFs. So a lot of those people in a loss.
I got breaking news. Breaking news. Are you ready for a hype cycle, everybody? Green weekly candle.
Oh, it flipped.
It flipped.
That actually is. If it holds, it's actually nice to see.
I mean, are we only 16 hours into the 7-day candle? Yes. But will I take that as a victory? A hard capital W in my book, everybody.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take anything we can get right now.
Back to the Trump thing, though. This is all right. So is it a stretch? I think it depends on how you feel about Trump. But when you look into how they lost $1 billion, you're like, oh, of course they're down $1 billion. What are they even talking about? What are you talking about, Krugman? Well, it went from 7.7 billion in early September to 6.7 billion in November. So you're like, yeah, when Bitcoin was trading at 120K, they're worth more than when Bitcoin's trading at 80K. I guess. Duh. So I think that's essentially what we're talking about here. And yeah, sure, World Liberty 5 might be down as well, but I would say if Bitcoin was trading at 150K, would World Liberty 5 be down? Probably not. That would be my guess there. Let's talk about Dump.fun. Looks like they've cashed out $500 million since October 15th. And it gets a little dubious here. They says they deposited into Kraken, and then Kraken deposited money into Circle. And so they're saying, basically they're selling $500 million on behalf of Pump.fun, but they came out as a team member here. Complete misinformation from Looks On Chain. $0 have been cashed out. So basically, I'm assuming this stablecoin is still sitting on their Kraken account. What's happening here is part of their treasury management, where the money from the ICO has been transferred in a different wallet, so the runway can be reinvested into the business. They've never directly worked with Circle, so they're refuting the claim that they're dumping, but it does look like they did deposit it. Now, about Cardano, here's kind of, just a little assessment. Go watch the emergency weekend video I uploaded. I shared my thoughts. Was it hacked? What does this mean for the price here? So many people are yelling, Cardano was down. CEO threatened to call FBI. It's not decentralized. Well, one, Cardano wasn't down. It did keep producing blocks. There was 2 node softwares. The 1 node software never stopped. It never stopped, continued to go. So a little different than Bitcoin's value overflow incident. Not as bad as the Bitcoin incident, and not as bad as, say, Solana shutting down entirely like it did in 22 and 21. There is no Cardano CEO. Governance is decentralized across stake pool operators, the community, and on-chain mechanisms. DZ stake pool is fine. Everything is working hunky-dory. The guy was already updating, and it was on the new node immediately. So, my stake pool, we've chosen to use the good software. And if you still think decentralization means nobody can investigate malicious actors, you probably shouldn't be debating decentralization in the first place. He didn't say, I'm calling the FBI. He did say, yeah, the FBI is looking into it, because, if you have money on a bank account and someone's like, well, I just exploited the Chase credit cards software to steal your money. We're like, I didn't do anything. It's just an exploit that's already there. The FBI is going to care. So I don't know why it would be too different with Cardano. But even mentioning the FBI, not a good look for Charles. He should have never, ever typed those 3 letters. That's my opinion there. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was nice to see it resolved quickly. I mean, the big thing for me is
Solana's founder was like, wow, Cardano impressed me.
Yeah, the way that the fork, yeah, that was interesting. Anatoly coming out and saying, hey, the way the fork infrastructure worked and the way the problem resolved so quickly is actually technically pretty cool. He's like, yeah, I'm going out on a limb here to say it's actually the technical side of this is pretty cool to see it work. Obviously, it's a pretty big blow in my opinion. I mean, you know, with the Bitcoin overflow incident that happened very, very early on. This is not an early on thing, but it resolved quickly. And you referenced there's been plenty of other technical issues with Solana and other chains, but again, this is, you know, this is part this in a weird way, it gets me all that much more bullish on base. It made me want to take my remaining Cardano over, you know, like not to FUD Cardano. I've been holding it since 5 cents, but
did you see the 3 founding entities finally work together?
Finally
for the
work
first time?
together. Yeah.
That to me is like really maybe the best thing from this is like,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, we care. It's the, I forget, Drew, maybe you can reference this, where you cut the baby in half and the person that says, no, don't cut the baby in half. Let the other person keep the entire baby.
Yeah.
You know,
I do
it's like
not.
it took something really, they had to kill their baby for them. Like, all right, let's.
I've never
take a step
gone
back.
down that thought process before, Deez. This is actually the very first time I've heard this.
What is that biblical parable?
I did cut my
Solomon.
Cardano baby bags in half. I actually cut them all the way across. And when we hit $1, just structurally, we kept bouncing our head against it. And it was the Trump tweet about the crypto reserves that gave us that pump above $1 for a very, very short amount of time. So when I did see us bump our head against it, I just cut loose and took the profits, and ran. I got out of the way. I do hope Cardano succeeds for the sake of decentralization, but in terms of price action, I am looking for nasty upside. So
I think this kickstarted the tier 1 stablecoin debate more than anything, and this actually created the wolf mode where maybe we were going to see Tether or Circle or maybe RL or USD1. We'll see a tier 1 stablecoin on Cardano within 18 months is my prediction.
They need it soon. I mean, I think I agree. I saw you mention that, and that's what Cardano needs to stay relevant. And again, to me, it's getting really tough to battle against these L2s. The L2s are kind of the new L1s, in my opinion. And for me, base is eating everybody's lunch when it comes to I mean, yes, ARB has some, use as an L2, but as far as getting retail and capturing DeFi and capturing institutions, I think the one that sits in the best position, I mean, you've got ETH mainnet DeFi, and then you've got base DeFi, and then you've got everything else. There's a little DeFi on Solana. There's a little DeFi some other places. But for the most part, if you're doing DeFi, it's pretty much on Ethereum, mainnet, or on base. And it continues to get better and better. And, coming back, I know I've been talking about Aerodrome a lot, but I want to mention this just happened a couple minutes ago. They're announcing another buyback. So Aerodrome, this was while we were live. This came out at 10:30. The 609K Aero buyback. The Aerodrome Public Goods Fund is acquired and locked 609K Aero as part of its programmatic market aware buyback, bridging total buybacks to 3 million this month. So that just shows that they believe in this ecosystem more and more. Not only are they buying it back, but they're locking it. I do believe a lot of these updates that are going to come to provide more and more rewards for Aerodrome lockers or VE Aero holders. That's something we've been a part of. I know DeFi Crypto airdrops here. He's been a big part of that for a long time. And so if you guys haven't checked out that channel as well, there's a lot of guides on Aerodrome and a lot of the base ecosystem as well. See, new Aero token going to be 85% deflationary. So there's a lot. We've been posting it in the Discord. There's a lot to read up on the updates and stuff. The token rewards are getting better and better. So I mean, that's my plan this whole market. I mean, we've been loading up on Aero locks. We've been loading up on DeFi in general. And at this point, we've got self-sustaining DeFi where if we're in a bear market for another couple of years, that's fine with us. Hopefully we stay in a nice tight range. And the volume stays relatively high, and then we can just keep printing money forever. Yep. So between DeFi and our trading group, which if you guys aren't in the Discord, the link is in the description. We've been having a lot of success with that. Make sure you jump in there. When will Link finally pump? That's a question only God knows the answer to. I have no idea. I can't
honestly.
I can't give you an answer on that.
It's
Next year,
systemically
hopefully.
important.
Yeah.
Like it's a systemically important part of crypto and data sharing. So there's only a few things I'm comfortable investing more into: Chainlink, Aerodrome, Morpho, Bitcoin. Pretty simple. Like I very, very
Good
much.
for me too.
Yeah, I'm and Solana's in there as well for sure.
Let me show you this real quick. Grayscale calls Chainlink the critical connective tissue.
Yeah.
Tokenized finance right there. So great term there. Critical connective tissue. They're saying this is interesting. This is what I want to share. Chainlink is the largest non-layer one crypto asset by market cap, excluding stablecoins.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, every time it comes back to time to buy, it's basically I go through the thought process of like, oh, I should probably just buy more Bitcoin, and then I get ready to buy the Bitcoin. And I'm like, look at that price on Chainlink.
$12 last time I pulled the trigger on Chainlink. It was Sunday or Thursday. It was less than a week ago. I was gonna buy some Bitcoin, and I saw $12 and change, and I was just like, buy.
That's my thought process every time. I always go start with Bitcoin. Then I look at Chainlink, and then I see like Arrow's 65 cents. I could buy some Arrow for 65 cents right now. Or, there's a lock. There's a flight school bonus of 11%, only a 10% discount on the lock.
I know.
Like,
the locks are very enticing to me right now. Like the discounts they're at right now. That's because I'm asking myself, like, what's going to last until next market? That's what I'm asking myself. And that's
has to be Chainlink. Has to be Chainlink. Now, I'll tell you what's not going to last even today. Doge. Doge is down. Doge is done. Department of Government Efficiency has been shut down and no longer exists, according to the Trump administration officials. I think Doge is actually one of the better performers today, though. So maybe people are actually talking about it like, oh, yeah, isn't there some dog coin called that? Yeah, Doge is up 0.6, down for the week, up for the day, down for 2 weeks, down for 30 days, down 65% for the year. But when this one pumps, it's going to pump out of nowhere. So just be careful. You don't want to be sidelined on that one, or actually just be sidelined on it. It's not really going to, you don't want to make that a major part of your portfolio.
Yeah. Is worth noting Doge was always designed to self-terminate, though. So it's just kind of hit its official timeline. We do have this super chat here. It's a good question for all of us and the chat. 8K in ADA. I don't know if you mean 8,000 ADA or $8,000 worth of ADA, but I'm going to assume it's the dollars version. 8K and ADA price 59 cents. Should I move it all to Chainlink, which has better upside?
I mean, my answer is easy. I'm Bitcoin and Chainlink are like in that row. I got out of ADA already. I don't
tell us what you think too, chat. While Drew's answering, Link.
Yeah, I'd be going Chainlink. That's what me.
Yeah. DZ, I think I know what you're going to say.
Oh man, it's tough. So I want to look at two charts to just see, like what has the better generational entry, or what maybe potentially has just better bullish divergences on a large time frame like a daily. And if you look, they're both looking pretty juicy here. Although this did just lost its little bit of momentum there, maybe potentially resetting. Whereas Cardano also that has a good trend line there as well. This is a tough one. I mean, from a technical perspective, I want to say Cardano looks better in the short term. Long term, it's hard to argue against Chainlink.
Yes, the chat is strongly in the move it section. Move it to Chainlink immediately. Except for DCA and Prey says get out of both. He's our resident get out of everything guy, which hey has been right for the last few weeks. You got to give him that.
That's the reversal signal that I needed. Then all right.
Yeah, for me, the answer is I don't know if he has any Chainlink, but what I'm doing is staying put. And sometimes I feel like that response is underrated in these environments. But everybody's trying to make a move, swap this for that, do this for that, and sometimes just sitting on your hands is the best thing you can do. Accumulating other good things. Yeah, this guy says Arrow over both, and yeah, that's for me. I've got a fair bag of Link. If I was porting out of Cardano, it would be to probably add more Arrow. And that's what I just can't stop buying Arrow. It goes Bitcoin Link Arrow, Bitcoin Link Arrow, and every time I look to buy something, it's like, man, I literally sent it to my group today, like, should we should we buy some more Arrow today? It's looking pretty good. You got that, drama over the weekend that might scare some people off. And to me, that's when I'm looking to move in. When other people are scared, when there's fear around a project, that's when I like to accumulate it, which is why that's what I've been doing pretty heavy these last, couple weeks. But sometimes selling isn't always the right answer. Selling into another project isn't always the right answer. I'd say they probably have similar upside, to be honest. So.
All right. Now, we do got a pretty tumultuous week, everybody. Today, we got the Monad Public Mainnet is going to start with their Mon token. We also have 2 new ETFs. We got Grayscale's Dogecoin and Grayscale's XRP Trust are expected to go live on the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow. ADP Employment Change Weekly. And then we're going to get some old U.S. September PPI data here. And then the day after that, on the 26th, we got initial jobless claims. And then we're going to have the 27th is going to be Thanksgiving. Everybody hit the like button for if you do like Turkey Day. And so look out for that data coming out this week. Now, we already talked about Chainlink right there. Pretty bullish on that. Do want to look at Base. Again, check out Base. There's going to be a lot of stuff this week. The 50 Builder Trust finalists are heading, so you could check that out as well. But I couldn't help. I got to look at the other chains. How often are people talking about this Polygon going down in 2025? How often are people talking about Ton blockchain? And again, Cardano didn't go down. I was sharing that, but then we kind of changed gears. I'm still going to be bullish on Cardano. I don't care what you guys say. But no one ever talks about the Polygon 2025 outage or the Ton Coin 2025 outage whatsoever.
That's very
fair enough. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. They matters less and less over time, but it does matter obviously if smart contracts are affected and things like that. Last thing we'll say on Base, again, the link's in the description if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But this is, and we did say we're going to do a giveaway here. So if you guys haven't retweeted the stream yet, do that real quick, because we are going to give a link to somebody to get on the app. The beta test the app is pretty cool. It is made, again, for builders and for users, and I think that's one thing that's pretty interesting. I just wanted to show, assets on the platform, 12 billion, 2.6 billion transactions, very fast block time. So it's good for traders and users because it's very, very, very fast. It's good for builders because you have a engaged ecosystem with money in it, and arguably, I would say, a platform that does advocate for builders. Again, just the support they've put behind Zora, I think it would be pretty easy. I would treat Base and Coinbase kind of like Meta and Facebook in Silicon Valley 10 plus years ago. So if you were in Silicon Valley as Facebook was on its rise, you were building to sell to Facebook. You were like, what app do we think Facebook could use that they would then buy? If you get into that mindset on Base and start building products within the Base ecosystem, it's never been easier to code and build, with AI and the different coding tools and stuff out there right now. You can build fairly simplistic applications that have a good use case and have monetary incentive. That's what I think is so cool about our space, is it is so attached to monetary incentives, and the tech is good, and you've got a highly engaged user. So there's a lot of different, it's very easy to integrate with USDC. They've got integrations with real world stuff like Apple Pay and Google and a lot of these other types of things. So to me, I see everybody spamming Morpho in the chat. Morpho's great. It's a lending and borrowing. It is the future, really. It is the future of finance, is on-chain lending and borrowing, on-chain credit. It's what Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy has been pushing so hard. And you can really, with an app like this, the future is here where you don't need banks anymore. Banks hate to hear that. They hate it when we say that stuff, but we're getting to a world where having a bank account is going to be optional, because you will be able to store your funds, you'll be able to transfer, you'll be able to swap, you'll be able to move it around the world, and you'll be able to get a loan. Way easier than anything a bank has to offer, way better competition than anything a bank has to offer. So they've got great applications on there. I swear I had one that showed some of their apps, but here it is. Oh no, this is the actual app. So I guess we'll go ahead and let us just type Base in the chat if you guys have Base or are interested in Base, want to get that app. We'll start. We'll draw after the show. users for, and we'll ping you or something, and you can email base to office@Hit Network, and I think we can give 2 or 3 of these invites out.
You had that Farcaster integration with X question. You can use Farcaster Sync, and
That's
it
what I
syncs
thought.
up with X, and makes it easy to post on both accounts. I get involved with these things because this is almost like a new meta, a new everything app being built out, in my opinion. So I'm excited about it.
And especially if you don't have a ton of capital and you're looking for ways to level up, get on base, use Zora. Use the Zora app. It pays to be here. That's not a joke. There's people making real money just playing with the apps in there, just testing it. And the more you can learn and get updated and be aware of the future and where we're going, the more set up for the future you're going to be. So
yeah, it's almost like a software app version of getting in early with that Solana phone, where
Absolutely.
you then qualified, and maybe there's things to qualify for here.
All right, so there you go. You have anything else you want to hit, DZ?
No, there was one clarifying detail. The MSCI announcement is going to be voted on in January. That is an important clarifying detail. I think it's January 16th. So they're going to decide whether or not to add MicroStrategy on there. So thank you for posting that. It was Jim Nas. He loves hitting the button on his Prelude.
Last thing I'll answer: how is Base better than Coinbase? It's not necessarily better. It's just different. They're 2 totally different things. Base is the layer 2 on Ethereum. Coinbase is the centralized exchange company. So Base is very much all about decentralization. It's all on chain. Coinbase itself is a centralized company, and everything isn't on chain. So I would just say the main difference. It's not necessarily better. They're kind of 2 totally different things, so it wouldn't really compare them. But what was the Coinbase wallet app will become the Base app, or already is displays as the Base app, but it's going to start functioning completely different as a social app here fairly soon. A lot more announcements coming on December 17th, so stay tuned for that. We appreciate all you guys. Hope you have a wonderful holiday week, and we'll see you back here later this